So we're going to do a little exercise on releasing the spine, how you let go of it, and the kind of the concept behind how to let go of the spine, because it's a really difficult concept. You know, we try and you hear in things like Alexander's technique that the spine needs to lengthen, and so of course, you know, you try and make yourself taller like this, which is useless. Although the word length, allow the spine to lengthen, is actually the correct instruction. It's just that we have ideas of how to do that. So back to the basics here, which is sink into your feet. Okay, just feel the weight on your feet. Okay, and your knees, just the knees, weight of the knees, if you like, that's difficult, but they pass into the feet. Okay. The next major bone is here. It's your hip, okay, which passes down through thighs, through the calves, into the feet. So feel the weight of your pelvis. Apparently it weighs approximately 18 pounds without anything in it. So that's just the bone itself. So it's quite a heavy piece of bone, two sides to it, sacrum in the middle, and just let the whole thing drop. Connect it to your feet. Check where your weight is on your feet. It doesn't have to be on the ball or the heel. It doesn't have to be in the middle, but you don't keep it on one of those three places. Just allow your body, because you're breathing, your weight is automatically on the in-breath going to go slightly forward, probably, simply because your chest expands. So be aware that's going to happen, and overall keep the weight in the middle, but you know, you're going to get a forward and a backward movement. Allow for that a little bit. Hips sink through the knees, through the ankles, into the feet, so we're heavy. Shoulders now sink down through the hips, through the knees, through the ankles, into the feet. So we need the weight of the shoulders to drop. And then your arms. You know, your arms each weigh about, anywhere between 8-10 pounds each. It's quite a lot of weight. You know, your hands are about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds, depending on your frame. So there's a lot of weight going down there. Just let it all drop. So you have to allow the body to let go. Now your fingers might start to tingle a bit, might swell a little bit. That's fine. Just allow that to happen. It's not going to harm you. And down you go. Everything's settling. Now, either side of your spine, you have these two muscles called the erector spinae muscles. I'm just going to get the skeleton. They are supportive muscles of the spine. So if this is your front, okay, so let's turn you around. You're now looking at your back. Hopefully it doesn't look like this. Let's just get a bit of arranging going on here, and hopefully it doesn't look like this either. So let's just get that approximately right, somewhere there. And it still looks a bit dodgy. So here's your back. Either side of your spine, running all the way up and down, you have two very thick cable muscles. Okay, now those thick cable muscles support the spine, in effect. They're not just one muscle, it's you know, various muscles which do the job combined. But in effect, it stops your spine collapsing and falling down. So when we're settling down, and hopefully you're still settling and just releasing and relaxing and just allowing your body to sink, what we need those two cable muscles just to relax either side. So we've got from here downwards is settling, right? Everything is dropping from here, through the pelvis, through the knees, through the ankles, through the feet, into the feet, and below the feet, if possible. So then, as everything drops, those two cable muscles either side of you just let go, they release. Now they go right up into the back of the skull here. So they support the body, but we also need the ability to let them go. And if you know the principle of a muscle that contracts gets shorter, that's tension, and we actually need to let go of muscles so the muscle naturally expands. You cannot make a muscle expand other than by stopping tensing it. So it's a negative way of making a muscle expand. You have to undo the muscle. So there you are, settling. Let go of the muscles either side, and sometimes you'll feel your spine, the vertebrae, just separating a tiny, tiny little bit, you know, you get a bit taller. And that's great if you can get that. And your neck should feel like it's almost floating on top because you've really released your neck any tension trying to get your body upright like this will just create tension, because trying to do this is actually trying to use muscles to do a job for which they're not designed, which is to make yourself taller. You have to undo the muscles to get yourself taller. So my usual analogy for this, and apologies if you've heard this before, is if you've ever grown, you've eaten an avocado and you're left with a stone, and what you do is you submerge half the stone in water, and usually you stick 3 matchsticks in or whatever to support it on the glass, dangle half of it in water, and after a while what happens is there's the stone splits very slightly, usually more at the bottom first than the top, and what happens is a root goes down first into the water. It's very satisfying seeing the whole process happen. It's very easy for you to do as well. It's worth just as an experiment, because this is basically your body, So it does that, and down goes the root. So here come the roots all going down. And then what happens next is that the stone splits a little bit more, and the shoot comes out the middle. Now that's your spine. And then, of course, you get the leaves and the flower on top. That's your head, if you like. But eventually what happens is that all this stuff here on the outside, the stone, falls away. And suddenly the roots in the ground, the stalks growing up, the actual stone will disappear and just eventually turn into earth. So it's the same with our bodies. You need to feel the same kind of concept here. So as you settle through your feet, drop your pelvis. This is all the stone. So the stone is from here downwards. Yeah. Not the middle, by the way, not the spine. Okay, that's the bit we're going to let go of. So down you go. You're dropping your sacrum here. It's almost like you're trying to make the root, which is there, go down, although your feet, you could also count as the roots. So down go the feet, down goes the sacrum, drop it, let the tip of your coccyx relax. That's your tailbone. And shoulders are dropping, arms, all part of the stone. Down it goes, down it goes. And then the roots now going down into the floor, you're feeling really heavy, pelvis is settling, and then try and release those muscles. Like the stone is now splitting towards the top, and you need that feeling of the stem of the plant being able to grow out from between the two halves of the stone, with the head balancing on top. Yeah, that's it. That's all it is. And it's a very interesting exercise to do while you're walking, by the way. So you can do it as you place a foot forward. I used to do this when I went to work. It took me ages to get there. But I used to, and I must have looked completely idiotic, but I still used to do it. And what you do is you take a step forward. Now, this moment now, when you put the foot down, that is your weight, everything going down, and you release everything and you relax your neck. You take a step forward, and then everything releases and settles, and you release the neck and you release the spine, either side of it, and you place it, etc., etc. If you do want to practice this when you're out, the way I used to do it was not every single step, because it would have taken me hours to get to work. What I used to do every 4th or 5th step or 10th step or something, you would just try that and just feel that sensation. Believe me, it doesn't take long for it to speed up, and you can start to do it on every single step.